where I call home, where the grass is oh so green and the air is always clean. I'm going back to San Antonio.
Hey y'all, and welcome to the Long Tall Texan Show. I'm your host, Bruno Michel. In October 21, I had the pleasure to interview the ambassador of Western Swing, Mr. Billy Mata. Born in 1957 in San Antonio, his career started in the 70s when he was singing country chart hits of that era. With more than 20 awards under his belt buckle, Billy Mata is one of the legends today in the genre of Western Swing. He and his band, the Texas Tradition, are very happy to be back playing for fans. Learn more about this great artist in the following interview. Enjoy and make sure not to miss out on a live concert of Billy Mata and the Texas Tradition. So back when the world was okay a while ago,
Yes.
we talked at Bob Wills Days in Texas. That was several years back, and the world went upside down crazy by now.
Mm-hmm.
So which priorities did you set when suddenly all the gigs were canceled?
Well, I tell you, it was a tough deal. We couldn't do anything. We tried to do things, via Facebook Live, and you can only get so much out of that. And then the problem with that is my boys, they all travel. I got one that lives in Lufkin, one that lives in Arlington, Victoria, Austin. It's like all over the place. So you still have that expense of having to bring them together and to try to raise enough money to like a gig. And it's hard to do one of those every week or every 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a tough deal, and I taken a lot of money out of my savings to do my next album, which will be out this hopefully November, because I thought I may not get a chance to do this again. Besides, if I was saving it for my burial, well, who's going to care, if I don't have any money left in my savings? Throw me down a hole and be done with it. But I had to take the initiative myself to think positive and try to move forward. And then when they started lifting the capacity, because let's face it, 25% capacity does nobody any good. Restaurants, dance halls, bars. Nobody makes money that way. You depend on full capacity.
Absolutely.
And you pray that if you only have 50%, you pay your bills.
Yes.
So if you do the math, obviously politicians aren't business people. So
they don't have to be. They make the money without, even if everything is locked down, they still make the money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Doesn't make sense. Well, since your 1998 album, Keeping the Tradition, a tribute to my heroes, you insist to record with your own stage band, the Texas Tradition, which I think is a good thing. What are the advantages, in your opinion, to do that instead of using experienced studio musicians?
Well, it's familiarity. The fact that you're using your band, and if I send a new venue a copy of my CD, there's a lot of guys that do that, and they record it in Nashville or Austin or something using studio musicians, and then when they get to the venue, they don't cut the mustard. and I wanted it to be raw and what we worked up.
So it's a quality thing, actually.
Yeah, and that's why I produce all my own stuff too. Yes, exactly.
Now, you and your band have won more than 20 awards, so what do these mean to you, and is there one specific award you still would like to win in the future? Or?
Well, it's very satisfying, gratifying, to win awards and be recognized by your peers. I don't think there's anything more that I have to achieve award-wise. I think the most rewarding thing for me is to be able to continue what I'm doing and make a good living at it, and hopefully make people happy. When they come see a show, they won't be disappointed ever, and that's the whole thing.
So many legendary Western Swing pioneers have left us. The most recent, I think, was Leon Rouse.
Yes, he was a dear friend of mine.
Days and talked with him, and he was just such a great guy.
Yeah.
You have created that trilogy, This Is Tommy Duncan, to make sure that that style actually never goes forgotten. Will there be more parts coming out of this trilogy? Because there's so much more to bring to the people from this guy.
Honestly, it was a trilogy tribute that was dear and dear to my heart, truthfully, I could have made a lot better money and a lot more had I just done regular albums. But that's not the point of doing it. So if I did it again, I mean, I'd have to hit the lottery to do it again because it cost a lot of money.
Right.
It took me 10 years to do this. So to finish it up. So I would love to continue, but in a different way. I would love for maybe one day this show of Bob and Tommy back together. Mm-hmm. You know, Jason Roberts and I talked about making it a theater show.
Uh-huh.
You know, like Ride with Bob. You know, that Sleep at the Wheel did. I want it to be a good story. You know, if you just do Tommy Duncan doing this, a lot of people realize who Tommy was. They figure, oh, that's the guy who did all the singing on all the big hits. But it's not that name recognition as Bob Wills is.
Absolutely.
I thought if I could put together a show where Bob and Tommy were reunited in 1960. Mm-hmm. You know, call it Together Again, like the album.
Yeah.
And don't steal my ideas out there. I'm just kidding. But that's what I'm thinking would be a carryover.
That would be great.
Yeah, because, I mean, Western Swing was practically dead before Heart to Heart Talk became a top 10 hit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Together Again didn't last Together Again.
Yeah, not
you know,
too long, yeah.
Bob had Leon Roush and Tag Lambert doing most of the singing, and all the stuff from Cap Records that were Nashvilleized didn't sound bad, but it just wasn't the same rawness as.
Absolutely.
And I could see the executives having to do that because, like I said, that was a forgotten era even in the 60s. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it did reinvigorate, and it got people like Merle Haggard and George Strait, Sleep at the Wheel, all loved Bob Wills. And most of the stuff that Merle and George did were from the era of 1960, you know, Right or Wrong, George Strait. That was the 1960 version of Right or Wrong. And Merle Haggard's tribute to the best damn fiddler in the world. You know, a lot of that. There was some from the 40s. But you could tell, like when he did Cherokee Maiden, he did that pretty much close to the way it originally was. And that was the nice influence that influenced the guys like Asleep at the Wheel to come back and do nothing but the rawness again. That's what brought it to the forefront. People can hear the music through the equipment of that day, and they say, wow, this is some really swinging stuff. So that's the whole thing about that.
Tommy was a big part, basically, of every Bob Wills hit except, what was it?
Faded Love.
Faded Love.
Yeah.
And Bob got into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Tommy didn't yet.
That was another thing that
why do you think that never happened?
I don't think they recognize him as a integral artist on his own right, which I think it's terrible because he was the guy. He was the voice.
The driving force, basically.
Yeah, and I asked Mel Tillis this before he died. I asked Johnny Bush many times. I've asked Ray Price. Many people were influenced by Tommy Duncan. You know, the songs, the versatility.
The way to sing, basically.
Yeah.
Also,
and, you know, Tommy knew so many songs. And that was another reason why I wanted to do the trilogy. The Duncan family, especially his nephew, Jack Basham, and I talked about Tommy should be in the Country Music Hall of Fame in his own right. So that's still a goal. While the trilogy is maybe slightly died down, the idea of it, hopefully it could be reinvigorated with a theater thing, you know.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah, hopefully it'll grab the attention of somebody.
Now you play with most of the stars in traditional country and western swing. Is there any artist you still would like to share the stage with before he or she passes away or retires or whatever?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I hate to say that most of them already passed, and I did get to share stage with Leon, Johnny Bush, Ray Price, you know, Earl Thomas Conley, who's not really a traditionalist per se, but he was a great artist and writer. And then, of course, Mundo Airwood, Kenny Dale, they've all passed. Curtis Potter, and so on like that. Daryl McCall, though, he and I are dear friends, and him and Tony Booth, those are good buddies of mine. Right. I mean, I don't deserve to be on the same stage with Tony Bennett, but he's one of my favorite singers.
I wouldn't say so because you know you have your position somewhere in that ambassador of Western Swing thing.
I would just be honored and glad to share a stage with anybody that would want to share it with me. I don't mean to sell myself short, but I mean, I just feel like what I've done to this point, I've basically satisfied that I got to do.
Well, you did it. Now, you're not only covering famous hits of Western Swing, but also write your own songs, such as Tally Ho or I'm Going Back to San Antonio.
Those two are written in the same night,
what?
By the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
But they're both in the same key, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was going through a divorce, and that's where the Tally Ho came. and I wanted to make it sound like, I'm over you, go on, Tally Ho. It was one of those long nights, okay? And I thought, I can't be down on myself so much. I was born and raised in San Antonio, and I said, there's going to be somebody for me. And I live outside of San Antonio, and I was thinking about moving back in. And so I'm going back to San Antonio, and I said, so I started playing, I'm going back to San Antonio. And then it kind of went together. Where the grass is all so green and the air is always clean, I'm going back to San Antonio. So it kind of flowed.
Well, before that interview started, you heard that one song, I'm Going Back to San Antonio, that Billy talked about just now. And the other one comes here, Tally Ho.
My opinions stink. You're trying hard to change me, I suppose. Well, I've got a good idea, so listen to me, dear. Grab a suitcase and pack up all your clothes. Tally-ho, tally-ho, adios, adios. This time our love has come to pass. Tally-ho, adios. Don't let the door hit you in the You don't like Western swing, even though Bob Wills is king. There's something not right inside your head. Well, I'm tired of your squawking, so you can keep on walking. It's obvious to me our love is dead. Tally-ho, tally-ho, adios, adios. This time our love has come to pass. Tally-ho, tally-ho, adios, adios. Don't let the door hit you in the Tally-ho, tally-ho, adios, adios. This time our love has come to pass. Tally-ho, tally-ho, adios, adios. Don't let the door hit you in the as far as old Alaska. Don't let the door hit you in the
All right, now back to my interview with Billy Mata.
So, and to be honest with you, I'm not a great writer. I mean, I write simple little tunes. I wrote the title song for the Domino Effect CD called The Domino Effect. And I never perform any of these songs because, I mean, I've had some requests for Tally Ho a few times. There's a few people that like to hear it. I guess, if you write something that's recorded and published, you're a songwriter. But
absolutely.
The real songwriters are the ones that write thousands of songs.
So you don't have like a process where the lyrics come first or the melody comes first, or it just comes?
Sometimes. Now, one of my best friends writes songs for me, John Lambert. He wrote Private Party and Texas Homesick Blues. And I always gave him all the credit. He hasn't written anything of my ideas yet, but I'd say, I had this idea of a title, blah, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, let me see what I can do with that. It processes differently in my brain than it would his, see? So it takes sitting down together, me playing a guitar and saying, this is kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
But we would discuss it. He's very good at discussing the intricacies of what he could do with the title. I leave the writing to the professionals.
Now the gigs are back, with a few exceptions. The venues are getting back to normal, whatever that means. You have full schedule almost again now. How do you recharge your batteries? I mean, I'm a few years older than you, but still.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm feeling it, and thankfully my wife Donna Sue is doing all the booking for me, because she's tired of me sitting around the house doing nothing. So
I guess after that long,
really neat, because we reassessed a lot of things too. A lot of people came out of this pandemic begging to work, and I didn't want to do that because you'll never get back up to the status you want to do. You'll be stuck with that because that's the way business works. So I said to myself, well, if I only get 2 shows a month, if they're good paying shows, and then that so be it. Yeah. So I just hired a new drummer who's a jazz drummer, and he that guy, those guys in that field have to play 6 nights in a row to make what we make in one night. So when you think about it, why not play the one night and then pick and choose what you want to do on the side? That way you don't wear yourself out.
Absolutely.
I'm 64 now, so it ain't getting any easier.
That's true.
Yeah.
I can feel that. Now, that new project that's coming out in the fall, can you already say a little bit about it?
Sure. I just talked to my engineer who just finished the mastering of it. We still have the process of buying the rights, the digital and mechanical rights, and we have to get them pressed. So that's why we're still probably a month away, hopefully. And I'm running out of money too, so for that project. The title came to me. Donna Sue and I were driving around listening to Ranger Doug's program on Sirius XM, and this pretty cowboy song came on, which is on the album called Song of the Sierras by Jimmy Wakely. Yeah, we both looked at each other and said, oh my God, this is something we got to do. It's not what I normally do. I don't do a lot of cowboy songs, although Tommy Duncan enjoyed doing a few. So I thought to myself, I've been called a crooner before because of some of the big band swing stuff I do, and I thought, hey, cowboys and crooners. And then I thought to myself, it can't be just the two, because I do honky-tonk stuff, so we came up with the name Cowboys, Crooners, and Troubadours.
Perfect.
It's a mixture.
Pretty
like
cool.
there's a Johnny Bush song, and there's a Kenny Dale song.
Nice.
And there's a Charlie Pride tune, Gone on the Other Hand, and then there's Dean Martin and Bobby Darin, and then there's some cowboy songs.
Pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Got to bring Don Edwards in that.
Yes. So and it kind of reflects on kind of what we have done on stage, and
so November.
I'm hoping.
Hopefully.
Make a good Christmas gift.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah, even if he comes a month later to Christmas.
Exactly.
Now, what would Billy Mata be doing today if he wasn't the ambassador of Western Swing? And I assume you would be a famous hat maker. Because, well, you already are.
Yeah. I still do it on the side.
What would you do?
I still do some hats. It's kind of a dying art. Not a lot of people have the talent to do it anymore. Yeah, it's probably what I'd be doing.
Have your own shop and make your own hats.
Yeah, I don't know. The shop I work at,
Paris,
they've been Paris Hatters. They've been around for 104 years, so it's not an easy thing to start, But if I had a chance to do stuff, say, out of my garage, and just stay when I'm at home, if I could make enough money to do that, that would be good. Those blocks and steamers and stuff, they're made out of wood. Right. The old ones are, and they don't make those anymore. So it would be real difficult, to start that business.
So maker it is.
Yeah.
Now, the last question: if you would interview Billy Mata, which question would you ask him that I did not?
Oh boy, gosh, there's too many to ask. I think the most important thing was I grew up in South Texas, so Ray Price and Johnny Bush were king, and I took a lot of ill advice from a lot of people saying, you need to do nothing but those songs instead of developing your own talent. So it took me almost 15, 20 years to find my way. I wish I would have been able to find it a little closer, a little when I was younger. Hence, develop my vocal talents even sooner. But then sometimes when you take a path, you go down that path, you can't go back. You just have to accept what you have. So, or what the path you chose, and right now, I mean, who knows? If I'd have done it earlier, I may be done with by now. And so here I am, 64 years old, still doing what I want to do. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Love it. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Thank you.